Evening all. Myself Robin Khurana. I'm here as event manager. Let me introduce you to the today's sourcing with the Indenese global based out in Noida, and Indenese Global Private Limited is a supply chain partner for global sourcing and consulting. The company provides one-stop solution for all global sourcing and consulting requirements for direct and indirect phases like steel raw materials, castings, forgings, machine parts, fabrication parts, fasteners, and MRO. We work with renowned and ethical contract manufacturers in India and other Asian countries who support in our global sourcing programs as partners or associates. Indenese Global, we have countries contact available in USA, UAE, and India. The Go Indenese app was launched on June 1st, 2020. So today we have two speakers for the same. Mr. Partap Ranjan of Indenese Global and Go Indenese app. He is having more than 20 years of experience in supply chain, procurement. Now, he in metallurgical engineering. He was recipient of prestigious DAD Fellowship, SU Master's Project in Technique University from Berlin. Another speaker is Mr. Sanjay Kumar Soni, who is consulting for automobile, tool building, tractor and heavy engineering industry, expert in negotiations, team building. On for going HMT and escort. Over to you, Mr. Pratap. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Ravin, for giving this opportunity from CICU side. We're really grateful, and thank you, Mr. Jaswinder sir. He is our mentor, guide, supporter, well-wisher, whatever you say. He has been instrumental and bringing this platform for us. Thank you very much, Jaswinder sir, from the beginning, from the core of my heart. So let me share my screen here so that I can start talking about the mobile app where you're talking. Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir. It's visible.
Visible.
All right. Thank you. Yeah. So thank you all the audience, all the participants, all the company people who have take out the time and come and join us in this webinar event. Today, we will approximately take 1 hour time to explain the concept behind this mobile app and how it is going to be helpful for MSME and SMEs in procurement space. And I will speak for 20 minutes in the first, and then Sanjay will take over to talk about how do we really use this app. Then we will open the session for any clarity, any question answer session. So I will quickly talk about the company, about Indenese Global. Indenese Global is a professional company started 2019 December. It's an ISO 9001 company, a certified company. It's basically into sourcing and supply chain consulting, having registered office in Delhi and corporate office in Noida. And we have basically professionals who are into the leadership team from various automobile companies and the manufacturing industries like Tata Motors, GE, Mahindra, L&T, Force Motors, HMTs, most of the companies we have worked with. Then we have current India presence in Delhi, NCR, Pune, Ludhiana, and Chennai and Bangalore, and also presence in US and Dubai. Recently, we have launched a special app called Go Indenese, which is designed for MSME and SMEs and buyers in the procurement space. This is a short story I'd like to take you all so that it tells an interesting story about us, which founded in 2019, December, which was towards end of 2019. January, we got started onboarding the customers. April 2020, we have been adjusted as the promising procurement consultant in India by Silicon India magazine. That is the top 10 promising consultant. Then we spread to multiple cities in India by May. In June 20, we obtained the ISO certificates. That's something we believe in the building the system around this our work. Then June 2020, we launched the mobile app where we have now more than 300 users and we work with some 10 tier 1 OEMs customers. So let's talk to the come to the topic of this Go Indenese app, how it's got started and what's the concept behind this or what's the problem we're trying to solve. Like this Go Indenese app is all about the procurements problem solving. So we're talking how do we support the whole procurement, supply chains, sourcings, an area. And I have worked with a lot of companies, and we all have seen a lot of similar procurement challenges. Whether it's a typical business owners of MSMEs, SMEs, procurement leaders, startup owners, or it's buyers, or professionals in the procurement field, we all have some similar challenges. I'd like to talk one by one. Like we always sort of resources procurements. I mean, anytime we talk about a team, complaints of hard work, workloads, they're not able to do multiple projects in time. Many times you fail in the customer targets. Then we also always that we talk about outsourcing, talk about engaging some consultant. We don't feel safe to share data and trade secret. Talk about any MSME or SME. We talk about procurement data. We actually feel very unsafe about sharing the data with any consultant. And secondly, they also come very expensive and they always come with a long-term commitment kind of things if we want to engage in consultant. Second thing, consultant always solve a specific problems. They can't solve all your procurement issues. So if you want to have a supply chain issues, you have to go to supply chain consultant. You have a procurement issue, you have to go to procurement consultant. You have a quality issue, or go to quality consultant. So that's also another problem. How many consultants will keep on engaging? Then second, the last one is the most important thing where most of the procurement people feel is the fear of losing procurement power or the purchasing leverage on suppliers. That is what we believe that the procurement people can do a good procurement when they have a good leverage with suppliers and vice versa. And at today's time, obviously, there is a heavy employee fixed cost where the work has been very dynamic, the demand has been very dynamic. Nobody wants to really keep a heavy fixed cost in the employee structure and cost structures. But we don't know where to reduce and how to really do the right sizing of the company because you are very uncertain about the demand patterns. And and the last one is also one challenge happens to most of the companies top leaders is that they get into micro level activities, they lose valuable times and they feel the lack of delegations and the lack of confidence in team skills. I think these are the very common problems when we talk about procurement challenges. And many people, whether it's a small buyer or the procurement leaders or the MSME owners or the directors, everybody on a one point or other time they come across the similar problems. What we do, I mean, we ultimately try to solve this kind of problems. This mobile app, what we're talking about, is a share sourcing model where we will explain how we still can solve some of the problems, and still we try to solve the problems which are actually tactical issues or tactical without taking out the purchasing authority from you, without taking out the purchasing power from a companies, without really sharing that much of the data from the companies, how we can still solve those problems. Let's take an example. I mean, we're talking about a 4-stage procurement life cycles where we talk about how can we really save time, okay, or what's the concept behind saving the time, whether it's NPD projects, whether it's a cost reduction projects, whether it's a risk management projects, whether it's a engineering sourcing or R&D projects, or whether it's a localization projects, okay. We let's take an example of a procurement life cycle. Let's say vendor onboarding, the first stage, then RFQ and commercial second stage, let's say vendor development, then logistic and purchase. The typical four stage process where any procurement life cycle goes through. What do we do in those 4 stages? Like let's say example, vendor onboarding, we go for searching the vendors. Then we try to know their capacity. we do the background check, we do the financial check. Then what we do finalize the vendor, we finalize the setup business, we agree on the terms conditions, then we sign the agreements. Then in the commercial stage, what we do, we go get the quotations, we do the price comparison, the buyer does the cost breakup, the tooling quotations. Then what happens that we do the negotiations, we do the discounts, understandings, then we out the business. Once the business is awarded, we go to a vendor development stage, where we do the inspections, a vendor audit, a PPAP audit, then a third party inspection, tool developments. The technical cycle starts. Then we finally sign up the PPAP, sign up the TQMs, the QA aspects. Then comes to the last stage, where the regular follow up starts, where the transportation follow up, site visits happens, and then we talk about the larger aspect of relationship management, inventory control, SARA business, QCD monitoring, those things. Now, these are the various activities happens when we talk about procurement life cycles. Now, see an interesting things. This whatever you see the upper part of the my slides, that's like this four stages. These are mostly tactical activities. What you see in the bottom part of the slides, those are actually strategic activities or leadership activities where you are taking a real decision makings. And if you really try to understand the time taken, the tactical activities actually takes more than 60% time in the whole procurement life cycles. This is something very interesting. I like to highlight that most of the ground level activities takes the maximum times. It is sometimes takes more than 60 to 80% timeline till you realize till starting from the your vendor identification stage to buying the material. You actually spend a 60 to 70% total time in doing those tactical activities. And actually the management spends only 20% time on these below strategic activities, like finalizing the vendor SOBs, then relationship management, inventory control. Those are very strategic activities, but company takes very less time. What we do, that if by some means from any company or any organizations can really take out those top level those activities listed in the top set of my slides, can be done parallelly by some way, probably we can save 60% total time. That's what exactly this app does. We say that this the 60% time which is spent on non-core activities, how do we save and how do we really quicken our procurement life cycle? How do we really, when you start the vendor onboarding till we get the material, how do we do it very fast? How can we do multiple projects together? This is the problem we're talking about, and this is the problem this app is going to solve. This top unlisted activities we are talking about, and how do we outsource, how do we give it to an experts who does it for us, and still we are keeping our major decision making parts with us, with which core to the companies, and how we are still executing the projects. Now with this, if every people have understood what is that we're talking about, how the activities can be outsourced, this mobile app can take care of those top tactical activities and do it for you. That is what the whole objectives. So what could be the activities? It is like the 45 plus such activities which are like get me a vendor, get me quotations, get me shoot cost, audit my vendors, do inspection of my parts, what's my tool cost, do vendor finance risk, get me 2D 3D models, get me raw material for my dies, build my purchasing manual. There's so many things are there, which basically, and I'll explain when we go for the demo of this app, that a company, how can they take the service of those small activities, and how can they make their procurement cycle much faster. There are some 45 plus sourcing activities. And now let's come to the basic. I mean, where we're talking about why do we need such app? Why do we, okay, this app is there which solving this problem, these activities, but why do we need it? Let me tell you that there is the need comes from the increasing Indian localization needs. I mean, there are a lot of companies who are buying from imported country like China, other countries, because a lot of other issues, they are trying to localize that. The corona has given us a lesson, the closer the supply chain to you, you can be better survivor in this kind of pandemic situations. So that's the reason people are trying to bring the supply chain. more close, more close to their the manufacturing site, so that they can come out very fast. Okay, with this. Okay, I think there's some background noise. Can we ask people to
Yes, I
keep
have
their
done it.
phone
I
like
have done
mute?
it, sir. I have done it.
All right, all right. Thank you so much.
सारा का म्यूट करें Mr. Gupta, please mute.
Let me continue. Okay. So this is one is that there is increasing India location, and second is the
Wait, wait,
MNCs
sir.
are setting out factories in India.
Avkar Singh ji, sir, mute कर लो.
Yeah, perfect, perfect. Thank you. So we're talking about where is the need. So the need is like we're talking about a lot of every company, manufacturing companies. You go and talk to them. They're really struggling. They have a long supply chains. Then a lot of MNCs are setting up factories in India. They are coming out of China. They're trying to make the India as the next manufacturing hub. Then MSMEs people, I mean the small companies who have very less marginal resource in their procurement team, they don't have access to skilled manpower. And most of the companies, you will find that the one procurement persons or even the owner itself drive everything, starting from the quality to engineering aspects to the developments to supplier identification. Everything is done by one person. So they don't have access to a skilled manpower, and it is also not affordable at sometimes. Now, of course, the last one is the startup India. This India is encouraging a lot of startups in India, and the startup is always a resource, the sort of resources, and they have to not do the marketing, they have to do the procurement, everything. What it says that all such things which coming up in India will keep on increasing the load on procurement people. We will keep on increasing the resources required for procurements. So that is how the more and more outsourcing requirements will come up, because we may not be able to add more and more procurement people in the company. So that is how we can still execute some projects, taking some outsourcing supports from companies. Now, this apps is definitely looking at those challenges in the another thing. What is the problem itself? We solve the major resource issue, scale gap issue in industries. It reduces the fixed cost structure of the company. It then entrepreneurs is helping them because the procurement sourcing is a very specific skill. MSMEs have lack of resource and cost pressures. This app can be a really a blessing to the MSME companies. They can take a lot of support from this mobile app. And who are the people are using this app at this moment in last 1.5 months? SMEs and MSME owners, startup entrepreneurs who do not have any resource. Let's take an example. A lot of people are coming up with EV vehicles, and but they don't have a resource to do the sourcing of the EV vehicle parts. So, but they are the only people who can do the manufacturing or who can do marketing. So they take the support of this mobile app and do the complete developments of this their EV vehicles. Buyers of large corporates, they are in, when we try to explore this mobile app, we'll see that there are a lot of information data available which is free of cost. Even the large corporate buyers can take use of. The international sourcing people who are outside India, they want to buy from India. Probably they can use this mobile app, look for suppliers, look for the capacity suppliers, do the supplier assessment, everything's okay using this app. Then sourcing consultant freelancers. That is also a great support for the freelancer, people who are alone, but still they work in procurement space. They can take help of this mobile app and really bring their projects on live. then IPO, the International Purchasing Office, traders, everybody, wherever they want to get access of the skilled resource, they can get use of this mobile app. And 80% of the total buying community can use this app. And if you see the right side, there's a sourcing for MSME, the special segment is there. And sourcing for India localizations, there is one of the special section is there. And sourcing for startup is there. And okay, little more detail about the service categories, what we cover, which we call it a 360-degree service categories, where 9 categories starting from vendor onboardings to commercial cost intelligence services and commercial buyer services, then testing and inspections quality services, then logistic and supply chain services, engineering sourcing services, then dies and fixture services, and procurement business. So it's like each category 9 services, there would be some 10 to 15 different activity level services are there. So which Sanjay will take part, will explain how do we really access to those activities and what are different activities are there. Like I spoken about, get me a vendor. So the get me a vendor will come in the vendor onboarding services. Get me quotations will come in the commercial buyer services. To do my vendors quality inspection will come in the vendor testing and inspection services. Get me dies, raw material from a dies and fixtures will come in the dies and fixture services. There are multiple services and we have clubbed it categorically into different 9 categories. So it's easy to access. And so what's at the end of the day, what is the USP talking about? What are the uniques? What's the difference in our mobile app or in that service offerings? How is going to help really? I mean, how is going to be win-win proposal for both user and the sourcing group we're talking about? It is like all sourcing services starting from the vendor developments to the quality, engineering sourcing, tool developments, the business process, everything is under one roof. There are only 45 services, 9 categories. Then user demand specific services as needed. You have one mobile app, all such services available. So whatever services requires, they can demand as and when required. And the most interesting part is that you don't need to pay for a kind of a overall package subscription or something. They can pay whichever services is taken. And let me tell you, the most of the services are the agent date is free. And app questionnaire queries make auto RFQs and RFAs. This is one of the technical things this app has built in. When you talk about how do what's the difference, is basically it is not about just telling you taking your interest from maybe okay I want to take a service. When you put a query in this mobile app, then you will be asked a lot of questions, some 10 to 15 questions. Those questions have been designed with a lot of experience, so that while answering those questions, our systems makes an RFQ automatically. So a lot of times we have seen that the better you ask the questions or better RFQ you have, you better get a service clarity. So that is exactly this app has taken care. We have designed this question such a way that it takes not more than 2 minutes while putting a query. But then we try to capture everything from your questions answers, and then our system makes an RFQ out of this. That means we can design the service proposal or design the your requirements exactly as per your need. And last not but the list was the skilled and quality resources availability. And see, because we have experts, in-house experts, and it is services given through this app to multiple companies. Obviously, there are the people get access to the skilled resources at a very share model way, so that makes this services very competitive. And obviously, we do not have a long-term commitment for users. It's a truly, we call it an on-demand sourcing services. That's the reason, like you need a service, you can come here and you can take a service. Like it's a on-demand sourcing services. You can tell it like a mobile app called Ola, Uber, or Urban Club, where you have the mobile app, but that is completely free to have the mobile app. Whenever you require the services, you simply ask for it and you get the service at your doorstep. Okay, so with this, we will go to talk about how really the mobile app, where it is available and how to download it and how to use it. The second part of presentation will be taken care of by Sanjay. Mr. Sanjay, so Sanjay, you can take up from here. I will stop sharing my screen. So you can take from here.
Thank you, Partap. Thanks for your input to the webinar so far as part one. So, welcome, dear participants and colleagues, for the part two or the second phase of the webinar. And before I start webinar, I take this opportunity to thank Mr. Ukar Singh to give us his valuable time to join the webinar. I'm very much thankful to you, sir. With this, as we are going to start the part two. Now, as we have already discussed, so far what we have discussed is what is the scope of services offered by Go Indenese team. Who are the potential customers who can use our services, when they can use their services at their required time frame. So after this, the next activity is coming is how these services can be used by the potential user and customer. So we are trying to make this mobile app with our best possible effort is as simple to use, or we can say the user friendly mobile app. And this user friendly mobile app we are saying is in 3 steps. The user can utilize this app, and we say in Hindi ki चुटकी बजाते हुए आप इसको use कर सकते हैं. So what are the 3 different steps for this is step 1. Step 1 is the select services from the home page or the front page of the mobile app. Second activity is once you have selected this, once you have selected the service, on the screen lot of activities will come on the screen, and you can select any one of the activities you need. Once the activity comes,
Sanjay, can you go to the presentation? Sorry to interrupt. Can you go to the presentation mode? The screen is coming small.
Is the screen visible?
Yes, screen visible. Now it is okay. Yep.
Thanks. So there are 3 steps. First is selection of the services from the mobile app. Second is once the service is selected, the activity to be selected. Once the activity is selected, you need to provide the detail of the activity you get the services for. Once these 2 things are done, the services will be executed by the Go Indenese team. And now in the next screen, we will be showing you how to use this in detail. Internet. Now the first activity is, if we want to use the mobile app, is we need to download it from the Google Play Store. So what is the step for downloading? Simple. We have to go open our mobile, go to the Google Play Store. Once we go to the Google Play Store, we need to type Indenese or Go Indenese. Once we do the typing of Go Indenese, it comes on the top of the screen along with a host of other apps. We need to select that. Once we do the selection, then the installation process continues for the app and it is installed. So this is as simple as that. We do not have to do any elaborate process for installation of the app. So second activity is, once we have done the installation this in our, what we are supposed to do, the natural process is we need to do the login, so that it registers in our system that you are a potential customer and user to utilize the services from Go Indenese. So what is the login? The screen will appear for login, where you need to give the minimum basic requirements like your name, email ID, choose the password. Once you do all these things, the login activity is completed. And after the installation of mobile app, the activity number 2 is also completed. Once the mobile app installation, then login is completed, comes how to use this category. as has been already explained, that there are host of services which are offered by us, and this we have defined into 9 categories. Just as a recall value, I am again defining those 9 services which we are going to offer is basically vendor onboarding. Next is commercial buyer services, die and fixture sourcing, raw material sourcing, testing, inspection and quality, cost intelligence, engineering sourcing, and procurement business. Depending on the need, you can select as customer any one of these services. Once you select these services, the next screen appears where the host of activities are being shown as part of those single service selection. Like some of them we have mentioned for the sake of giving awareness, that in case of vendor onboarding, the activities are get me a vendor, get me quotation, get me should cost, do the part inspection. Now again, depending on our need, we can select any of these activities. Once we select any of these activities, as has been already said, against each activity a questionnaire or a pre-format, a chart, a sheet comes, which has been deliberated among all our team member of Go Indenese, and then it has been derived in detail that against each activity what is the basic bare minimum requirement which we need to provide so that the activity can be processed at our end, and then we can serve the customer. Important to note that some of the times during our working, we have observed that once any project or work is going on and we are halfway through, then we come to know that, oh, we have missed these 2 or 3 datas, and based on that, whatever progress we have done, we need to change the direction of progress because some data is missing and maybe we need to restart again. So to avoid and look after this specific issues, the questionnaire, once again I am saying, the questionnaire is built in such a way and such a simple way, easy to understand and easy to fill. When the customer provides all this information, there is no looking back. You are rest assured, if you have filled up the questionnaire properly, that the service provided will be exactly to meet your requirement against a particular given activity. Now, what we need to say as part of customer is, please ensure once you have filled up all the information, please go through that and ensure that all this information is relevant and accurate against the services you are requiring from us. If you have seen all these things, then you can submit the request. So these are the 2 activities which we expect our esteemed customer are to be done. Once this is done, the role of Go Indenese comes into play. And what is the role of Go Indenese? Very simple, to serve the customer. Now, what is the process flow for serving this customer is we are trying to show now. As we are saying, it is on-demand service and user has demanded a service. It means user has given the request. What happens once that request is recorded? We do have a algorithm which takes care of user activity requirement automatically. It means there is no human intervention. And what happens is once the activity is submitted by the customer, there is automatically generated. We call it as RFS or RFQ code. That is request for service, or in case of quotation, request for quotation code. That is a unique code which is combination of an activity and combination of a given customer. So it can be traced back anytime in the history of services offered by us. Now, once this code is generated, we do have our customer relationship management software. It processes it. And then depending on the activity and services which we are offering a group, it goes to COE leaders. What is COE leaders? I'll just take a pause and try to explain this concept. Is like in an organization, we call it as there are HODs, head of the department. or there are division heads. In the similar pattern, we do have COE leaders. COE is Center of Excellence, because our endeavor and aim is to provide the excellent services against each of the activities requested by our esteemed customers. So these COE leaders basically then analyze those activities, those services, and as of now, as you know, we have 9 different services categories already defined. So against each of the service, we do have COE leader, and then along with that COE leader, we have group members associated with those leaders. Another important aspect here is to mention is our COE leaders, each one of them are having basically vast experience and industry association along with them. And this experience is minimum 20 years for our COE leaders, and maximum it goes to we have the veterans also available with us who are having experience of 35 plus years. So these leaders, along with their group, supporting them, analyze these activity and services, and based on the requirement, they go in detail and give an offer which is meeting the requirement of the customer. That offer is made in the form of, if you see here, as service code. Service code is basically a detailed offer submitted to our esteemed customer against his requirement. So when service code goes to the customer goes through it, and then once he verifies it and ensures and confirms that it is meeting his, he communicate us, yes, this is to me. At the stage of accepting the code, we do a user service agreement, which basically takes care of one very important aspect, that sometimes customer may have a genuine feeling that whatever information I am passing it on to go Indenese, whether this is going to remain as confidential and private information and only to be taken care by me as customer and go Indenese my supplier. So yes, so not only we say verbally that we are making this as confidential as possible, we do have a contract also in writing. Customer ultimately should not have any worries that his information is going to be leaked or misused or used by any other channel. This is our thing. So based on the customer input, the user and Indenese service agreement happens. One service agreement happens as per the commitment and detailing already submitted to customer. We complete that particular activity, and in this pattern, this is closes. Here again, I am saying the concept of center of excellence, we are taking it in comparison to a normal consultancy processes. Majority of the consultancies are basically offered by a person or maximum 2 or 3 persons. Our differentiation is we are not a group of 1 person or 2 person. We do have a center of excellence leaders, as I have already told, I am repeating, is having a vast expertise and not even single location based. We do have center of excellence leaders available at Noida. Then we do have it in Pune, Chennai, we have it in Kolkata, of course in Ludhiana, and this is our Chennai, this is our national placement at key cities. We also have our center of excellence leaders available at Dubai and USA. This is basically a format and work frame on which we do operate. Now, once the activity is come, there must be a natural question that how we are servicing and what are the offerings from our side, or what is our output, which is so some of the output on sample basis is not elaborative, but on sample basis just to showcase our capabilities, we are just showing of the sample reports. So first sample report, if you see, is basically talking about 3D printing and reverse engineering, and this basically is showing one elbow, and as an simple development, if required, we can generate the 3D printing model for the customer. In the similar pattern, if drawing is available, we can make the component, or suppose drawing is not available. So as part of reverse engineering and CAD modeling, the part we can generate our 2D and 3D drawing. This drawing can be also submitted to customer. Part of our services we are offering. Next sample report, if you see on the right side, basically the should cost sample report. In should cost sample report, customers intent and requirement is for a particular component, complete manufacturing process starting from raw material till it meets as a end the drawing specification. What is the total cost should have? So we give him all the details, and this is not done manually. For that we are using basically the sophisticated software, like one of the software which is being used is PCP, and this takes care of when we are talking about cost. What is the we need to use for the given production requirement? What is the cycle time? What are the different processes? What is the machine for each process? Time of each process, and all these details comes, and then finally the total should cost submitted to the customer as per his requirement. Next sample report we are talking about is part inspection report. The input to this part inspection report is naturally what is the part drawing or the part drawing along with the ballooning. Once part drawing and ballooning is done, then we go for each individual parameter along with what is the dimensional value of each parameter and the differences of that. In addition to that, these dimensions are to be measured by which of the equipment, like we have mentioned, it can be vernier, it can be trimos, it may be even CMM, and we do take a number of components depending on parts of along with the customer agreement. In this particular sample, we have basically taken 5 dimensions of 5 parts, and then we also define whether these dimensions are belonging to within tolerance or outside tolerance. If it is within tolerance, then we say it is okay. If it is not within tolerance, we also say it is not okay. So customer gets a better quality of the part in totality, that how it is behaving and whether it comes under the detailing okay part or not okay part. Next report we are talking about is production part approval process as a PPAP process. We can do audit on behalf of our customer at supplier's end, and we can see whether they are able, they are capable to meet this PPAP documentation requirement and then execution requirement, and the same thing can be executed and analyzed by us, and information can be submitted to the customer. Now next comes is under the service category of commercial buyers. In case of commercial buyers, normally what they want is, they want basically what is the cost, and not only cost, they say that for a given component manufacturing, I need complete manufacturing process, each step by step. So that can also be done. Here we have just given 2 samples. Sample 1 basically says as the machining part, and sample 2 is forging part. In sample of machining parts, what we are saying is, in this particular case, it is basically the turning requirement depending on the quantity and the quality requirement. If it is stringent, it can go on to the turning center. If the quantity is less, it can go on to the lathe also. So based on that, if you see at the bottom, along with raw material cost, we go for what is the different operations, and then against each operation, what is the cycle time, against each cycle time, what is the machine employed, against machine employed, what is the machine hour rate. Once machine hour rate is defined, what is the cost for that operation, and then summation of total cost for completing manufacturing of that particular part. In the similar pattern, we go for the forging cost sheet, which basically says to make a given forging, what is the raw material diameter, what should be the length, then which hammer or which press we are supposed to select for doing the forging operation, what would be the furnace temperature to do that part, what will be the trimming done on which capacity of press. Then once the forging is done, trimming is completed. If a heat treatment is required, then depending on the part specification, we also define what is the furnace, whether it is chilled quench furnace, whether it is continuous furnace, and based on that, what is the cost and time for that, and then in turn it is submitted to the customer accordingly. Comes is as part of service another sample report for vendor onboarding, which says that how to do the vendor evaluation. Now, in case of vendor evaluation, it comes only when we do have more than one vendor, and we have taken here a case of basically a software requirement. In software, you will see that on the left side, a host of software companies are mentioned, and what we do is as part of vendor assessment, it is basically taken care of two levels. Level one is technical rating, the assessment on continuous basis and capability and capacity of the company. Second comes here, if you see, is the commercial rating, and then we do get a total score for combined technical plus commercial rating, and then based on these two ratings, if you see at the bottom, the commercial ratings have the background details of year one cost, year two cost, year three cost, what is the combined cost, what is the service, then uptime. So all these details finally goes into technical rating and commercial rating. Commercial rating we say L1, L2. So L1 is of course is the lowest rate and best possible case. Similarly, technical rating is also T1, T2, T3, and based on that we try to see that which supplier is coming at T1 and L1 category. In this particular case, if you see, Wipro is recommended based on the evaluation. Now, we have seen some of the sample reports. So once again, I'll try to see who are the basically user of these activities. It has been already identified, so I'm just repeating that all types of SMEs and MSMEs spread all over India, they are our valuable customers, and they can utilize all the kind of services and activities we are going to offer them. Along with that, it is not limited. The MNC buyers who have basically very good sourcing, very good staff, intelligent people, good resources at their end, but they can also utilize our service just to ensure and make them confirm that whatever they are doing, are they doing it optimally? Are they doing it effectively? Are they cost compliant? Are they quality compliant? Are they production time compliant? So all these things they can check it from us and continue. Now, as has been already told that host of countries have started thinking to change the base from China. And for these scenarios, lot of companies are about to come to India, and when the big companies are coming to meet their requirement, lot of suppliers are required. And to meet those suppliers, startup activities are also coming by young and new entrepreneurs. So when a startup comes by an entrepreneur, he is supposed to do lot many activities simultaneously, and some of the time, maybe the time is limitation or the awareness limitation, because he cannot be master of all the activities required to be performed in an organization. So he can use our services. Next is, as has been already told, that there are consultants who are working on Unison, Solitude, and Alone, and if they feel they need some competencies available better than they do have, they can come to us, and we are willing to and happy to give them our services. Now, once these who are able to take these services, what is the benefit of getting our services? What is the benefit of getting services from us in comparison to get it done from any other sources or get it done in-house? So first we are saying is, for every activity related to supply chain management, we are saying that it has been divided into either tactical or strategic. We say tactical is the activity which takes resources lot, but then strategic activity is basically needs management concern, and there they need to take decisions. So all the tactical activities can be done by us, and when we do this activity, then the time taken for these tactical activities can be saved by the organization, and this time saving can be used somewhere else. Where they can use this, if they are taking, let's say, 2 or 3 projects in a month, when they are doing everything, if they upload the tactical activities, maybe those 3 projects can become 6, can become 10. So in a very short span of time, they can do multiple projects, and they can have their leverage, and they can empower themselves in front of their customers to deliver them better projects, better quantities, and earlier in time. Next most important thing is, sometimes the customer may feel that as part of consultancy, a long-term commitment is required. So what we are saying is, this on-demand sourcing service, we are saying, if you want, we are for it. There is no long-term commitment. You go for a particular service and you go for a particular activity, get it done, pay for it, and that's all. Over. But in due course of time, if you feel that our services are worth, we are giving value to you, to your SCM chain, to your organization. If you want to use services more than once, services for a longer term, we are for it. And once you do all these things, you are basically saving your time, you are basically saving your resources. So it means, end of the day, what is going to happen? It is going to improve your return on investment. It is going to improve your customer satisfaction, which is the ultimate goal for every organization. Now with this, I am coming to an end for the part 2 session of today's webinar. And in this case, as we have talked about mobile app, but mobile app is also one of the mechanism through which all our respected customers can contact us. But otherwise, they can also contact us on phone, and our phone for any inquiry is already mentioned, that is 9821 66 4557, or they can also write mail to us, is query@indianesglobal.com. With this, we are coming to end of second phase. Then in the third phase, what we are going to do is, we are going to show a video first, where how to select the services. The demo will be shown. In addition to that, we will show a host of 3 videos more, where the guest speakers, the esteemed speakers who honored us by joining them on our app launch, and which has happened in June. So we'll be showing the glimpse of that and their thought processes about our organization. So once this video section will be over, our next session of question and answer will start, and I request all the participants to have ready with their question and answer, which can be done, and we will be very happy and obliged to answer that for all the participants one by one once this video session is over. So for the video session, I am handing it over to Mr. Partap Ranjan again. So Mr. Partap, over to you now.
Yeah, so the next video we are going to show is the Mr. J.S. Vogel's the personality from Ludhiana's well-known personality. Is the current vice president of Unipart Groups. He is the panel of various eminent industrial associations like PICO, Tractor Division Head, CICU, Vice President, Executive Teams, CIA Punjab, Executive Teams, LMA Executive Teams. He's a well-known face. He's been guide, our mentor since beginning. So he was one of the eminent guests in our lunch program. I'd like to show his and a couple of things he spoke about this app. Just let me know if his voice is clear or not.
Yes, dear participant, I hope each one of you have enjoyed this session. and also ready with your questions, and please ask that question one by one. And Arunima, you also be in charge to get the sequencing of questions, and we will be very happy to answer that. So all are welcome to ask the question one by one, and it can be done in chat box, or it can be done directly by talking to us. Chat box.
Next question is from recognition.
Uh, Pratap,
Yes.
can you see the question in chat box?
Whether the contract will be global or supplied directly.
Yes,
The question from Mr. Gagnesh Singh Purana.
right.
See, okay, let me tackle this question. This depends. Obviously, this lot of background noise. Anyway, I will just go ahead answering this question. Eh, the most of the times the contract will be between the service taker and Indenese Global. And if you want to directly, there are some services which can be directly activated with the supplier, let's say transporters. We do not do the transportations. So they are the service contract will be between the transporter and the query who's generating the query. But most of the other service which is done by in-house team of Indenese Global, the contract will be between the Indenese Global team, Indenese Global company, and the service seeker. Is that my question? My answer is clear. Am I able to answer this question? All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Gagni. Amit Singh he has a question. Amit, are Amit Singh, right? Some Unipath.
Yes,
So
yes,
he
sir.
has asked a question. The lead time for RFQ and other requirements. See, the lead time typically we have been now giving services for last 1.5 months, and typically we internally taken as target to close any RFQ within 2 days. So that is what the time to take care. But we are definitely targeting towards answering the giving a commercial quotation within 1 day. Like today, you give it on 24 hours working day, the quotation services will be given to you. So that's the future targets. But right now we are able to give the quotation services to multiple people within 2 working days.
Okay, with the precise cost or the sir individual the total cost?
It is Amit. It is like there are customizations available. Some people ask only the supplier informations. I mean, this is the best of this beauty of this mobile app. It is not exactly the quotation. It's basically giving a customized service to the buyer or to the service seeker. The service seeker wants only the vendor name, so they can ask for, okay, get me the only vendors. So then the subsequent quotation process they can do. So the query person can ask only give me 3 quotations with the comparisons. So this will be given as per 3 quotations, the comparison service names and contact persons. They want, okay, give me the quotations with price breakup. So that can be given with the price breakups. So it's completely customized. So based on the customer's requirement, you can in the query box itself, you can tick it what exactly needed as per you, and then the same way the service can be given.
Okay, okay, sir. Also, one question is here, and
Yeah.
whether it is the same platform for the same customer and the supplier base that we can meet the supplier base and the customer on the same this app.
It's a very, very interesting question, Amit, you asked. I mean, thanks that you pointed out that, because this is what the difference we're trying to make. This is not a platform like India Marts or Alibaba.com or Trade India or JustDial.com, okay, where they have created a platform which is a like artificial platform where the buyers have been registered, seller has been registered, and they talk to each other, try to see the matchmaking. Okay, so this is not a matchmaking website or matchmaking platform. This is a true sourcing platform. okay, which is designed for buying community. I mean, this is a true buying services oriented platform where we have our own existing vendor base, or even a lot of vendors we are exploring day by day. But the buyers, the service seekers, they will connect to us to get the services from the buyers, suppliers. Then we will try to find out the all the suppliers, or to find out the exact services, being your counterpart, being your extended arm. So basically, you are saving that way the time. So you are not going to search a lot of vendor base like you do in IndiaMart.com. You will not be doing any search in our platform. You will not be doing any discussion with the vendor base to filter your supplier base. What you need to do, we just need to give a query. Then our buyers, our in-house people, they will work for you to go around and search the suppliers for as per your criteria, get the suppliers and give it to suppliers to you. So that is what the service we're talking about. It's a purely buyer-oriented service. Is that clear, Amit?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank
Is
you.
that helpful?
Yeah, sir. Very helpful.
Yes, thank you so much. It is really helpful. People like you who can save a lot of time. Like I remember, Amit, when we used to work for Uniparts, where for any buyers and a supplier search, we take a lot of time going to IndiaMart.com, going to Google, then going to other search engines where you look for a lot of suppliers. Then a lot of suppliers are actually they put their name as suppliers, but actually they're traders, right? So then we
Yes,
spend a
sir.
lot of time so talking to them. So then finally got to know that oh, that's not a supplier, that's a basically a trader. So this all activities, all times, okay, what a buyer should take normally, they can simply save it. If that activity can be given to Indenese Global, and Indenese done all kind of groundworks. In fact, we know exactly who are the vendors can serve this particular RFQs because we are sourcing experts. So then we also do the activities very fast, which is required by the buyers, and come back to the buyers very fast. So that is how actually the valuation happens. So it is not a buyers and sellers platform.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Amit.
Pratap,
Okay.
there is
What
another
are
query
the
in
next
chat box.
questions? What will be the lead time? Ho gaya? What are the warranty conditions after sales issues resolved? Mr. Manoj, see this particular things. Okay, I think it's a broad, very good question. It's a broad answer it will have. Some of the services which is suppose parts which supplied by us, we take the full warranty like a normal suppliers. But if supplier it's supplied by somebody else and you take the directly service from the suppliers, obviously that warranty part will be taken care between the supplier and you. My answer? Did I answer your question? So any other questions, any other queries? Guys can go to okay. Right now I saw questions about whether this available for Play Store, Apple, so iOS platform or not. Right now that is under developments. Right now this mobile app is available only for Android platforms, Android phones. So it is available in the Google Play Stores. So within next 1 week or so, we'll be launching this iOS platform. Any other queries?
Sanjay, so you can close or you want my closing comments?
Yeah, please. We'll be really glad to have that.
Yes, we always say last but not the least. Uh, Now we are almost approaching to the closer of the session of today's webinar. And now it is very apt, and I hereby request Mr. J.S. Bhuvan sir to give his words of wisdom and guidance to all of us.
Yeah, my connection, apologies, is not very good today. But thanks, Sanjay, thanks, Pratap, and Global Indenese team. I know you have uh, played key roles in our organization. And what I see now, you're taking it to the next level in your new business project. I think Ludhiana is a typical city that needs a lot of support on purchasing, sourcing, and related SM aspects. Um, the app and the way it is designed and the way the flow is, and with all of you such experience, men and women, people behind this, um, it will add a lot of value add to the. Yeah, and with Sanjay's experience and structured way of working, uh, I think this will go a long way in providing the solutions to the problems and sourcing needs of the industry. So thank you very much for this crisp, short presentation, even though it had a few glitches. And I'm sure our CISU members um, will gain a lot of value add. We will also circulate it, Robin, to all our members. Sanjay is sitting with you. So he's already done it. And in case any queries are there, Sanjay is here and, those can be answered. So all the best and thank you very much for this very productive session. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Justice Saab. You're encouraging really. You have always been encouraging mentor for all of us. Fantastic supports, and I think it's a great platform and to reach out to Ludhiana specifically. Like you said, Ludhiana is one of the most advanced industrial hub in India. So we like to really grow in Ludhiana. We have our able partner Sanjay Soni is there in Ludhiana, who's taking it forward. And I really thank you, this issue, and all the guests, all the participants, for giving us this opportunity to talk about this mobile app. Please reach out to us, and we'll always there for any kind of support. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bhuvan sir, for your kind words and guidance to us. And it is our endeavor, like we were doing earlier also, that whatever we do, excellence must be a part of it. We do have the same zeal and same motive here in our new organization, Go Indenese. With this, dear friends and everyone, we are coming to the conclusion mode of this. And I thank all of the participants for having their patience and devoted their time to listen to us. And in case, as has been already told, I am repeating, if there is any query by them that can come to us through CICU or directly, and we will be very obliged and thankful to answer and serve the queries and serve you as our potential customer. So thank you very much once again for each one of you, and thanks.
Thank you. Bye bye.